also from Greece. Welcome a strong representation of our business partners. Let me call you our friends, not partners, because only with your help we could achieve such a great success, presented soon. Welcome, of course, the key managers from Play also. And we're expecting also in the room to be a strong representation of our owners. But it's time for numbers. I will show you one number. But we have a master who will present all the numbers. Welcome on the stage, Bang-Jensen, number one player, and in my private opinion, the most effective telco CEO in the world. Jürgen.
Morning everybody, and also from my side, heartily welcome to the Play Q4 and full year results from 2015. 15 is already long behind us, and we are deep into 16 and all the concerns about the future. And we're very happy to be back at the Mobile World Congress with our annual press conference. We had a break last year just to make a change. Now we are back, and I think it's a good opportunity to sort of reflect on what is the future going to look like. And I've been in business quite a few years, just like many of you, and we have experienced 2G and 3G and so on and so forth. And when we look back, 2G was all about speaking with each other, which we did a lot, always walking around. Nobody's walking around like this anymore, everybody's walking around like this. So 2G was about the talking, and 3G was about the pictures. We could download pictures from the internet, big revolution. And many companies use that to establish OTT platforms like Facebook and others. And then we were wondering what would 4G bring that we didn't already have, because we had a lot of stuff on 3G. And 4G for sure is now all about video, so we can see live video, live streams. Somewhere in the world there will be somebody hopefully downloading this press conference live on an LTE network. And then you're wondering, so what's all the fuss about 5G, and why do we need any further development and higher speed? And the answer, I think, is clear at this Mobile World Congress, which is it's all about virtual reality. Actually, in the future, we don't need to be here. I will be missing you all. I'll be standing in front of a blue or white wall, and you will all sort of have goggles on, sitting somewhere in the world and feeling like you were here, except the good company is missing. So, but I'm sure that there will be many fantastic applications linked to 5G and to the virtual reality that we will see in the future. But before talking more about virtual reality, look, let's go back to the real reality and some numbers that we would like to show about the past. So 2015 was indeed a very good year for Play. Again, I should say. So by the end of 15, 31st of December, New Year's Eve, we counted 14.15 million subscribers in our customer base. And that is an increase of 1.86 million throughout the year, which is actually the best year we have had ever in terms of adding new subscribers. And the growth was 15% on top of the end of 14 year on year. So indeed a very satisfactory year for Play. That leads to a market share of 25.2%. That is a mathematical calculation of 3.8 percentage point year on year, which sounds dramatic. It is not so dramatic. The 25.2% is calculated, and the 3.8% achieved more based on one of our competitors emptying the customer base of empty prepaid customers, and they will have their annual result presentation on Thursday, and they will know exactly how many customers they actually took out of the customer base. So we have made different calculations. This is based on what we call current customers. You can calculate on 3 months active prepaid, 1 month active prepaid. There's many definitions in the industry. whatever definition we choose, we are between 25 and 26% market share, which is a very satisfactory result and somewhat above what our investors, who are normally late, which they will be again today, they were setting out to achieve when they founded the company back in 2005-06. Even more satisfactory for us is the fact that the split between pre and postpaid customers in the database is now 50-50. And just a year ago, it was 47 postpaid and 53 prepaid. So what we have seen in 2015 is I would call it quite significant movement of the customer base from prepaid to postpaid, and I will come back a little bit later to why this has happened. So that brings, with our 25% market share, Poland into a quite unique situation, which is that we actually have what we define as 4 equal players. 500,000 more here, 500,000 less there, but in essence it is 4 equal players in the Polish market. And there's been many questions to why is it that Poland is, what is it that makes Poland so unique? And if I should mention 3 things, it is that we have 4 equal players, meaning there's a balance in the market. Before we entered, there was 3 equal players, and then we created some unbalance, and now we created balance again. The second is that we have very low consumer pricing. If you look at the effective gigabyte price in Poland, I bet it's one of the lowest in Europe, which is good for the consumer. It could be bad for the operator, however, due to the scale we have, we can produce effectively data and voice connectivity. And it also means that the difference between the production cost and the retail cost is quite low, and hence there's no room for a lot of disturbing MVNOs in the market. There's only one with a kind of significant size, but compared to many other countries, Netherlands, Germany, England, Poland do not have, and for good reasons, do not have a number of MVNOs which are heating up the market space. And last but not least, the operators in Poland control the distribution. When we launched our high-yield bonds a couple of years ago, we had a question, why is Poland so unique? At the same day, on the front page of Financial Times, it said there's a mobile retail store in Great Britain being sold for £1 billion. And we said, listen, there's no retail chain that can sort of add that much value in Poland, because we are controlling the distribution, and actually means that the profits normally being kept in the distribution channel in Poland is passed on in terms of lower prices to the consumer, so it's actually a win-win situation. So Poland is unique, 4 equal players, very few MVNOs, and very good and solid control of the distribution. If we go to our numbers, so total revenues for the year amounted to 5.3 billion zloty, up by 22% year on year, so a higher growth on the revenue than on the customer base, which indicate that we have done something right in terms of providing good offers and interesting offers to the consumers. For the Q4, it was 1.4 or 1.5 billion, up 8% quarter on quarter. So also the underlying trend in the last end of the year was very satisfactory. The usage revenues, so what the user generated, not the wholesale and the interconnect, but the usage revenues increased by 16% to 4.1 billion. Also a very satisfactory number. And for the quarter, it's actually decreased by 1%, which is due to Q3 being very strong on roaming revenues, and also that we in Q4 gave significant discounts by signing up new consumers, and we expect this trend to be reversed in Q1 of 2016. So it's a one-off with a 1% down on user revenues in Q4. Even more satisfactory from an investor point of view is the fact that we increased our EBITDA for the full year to 1.5 billion slots, or 44% more than a year earlier. So we have managed to take a lot of the revenues that we have increased and move straight to the bottom line. So a very satisfactory result indeed. And for the fourth quarter, the adjusted EBITDA was 425, up 1% on Q3, which is actually unusual because Q4 is the month or the quarter where you acquire the most customers, which cost a lot of money. But we managed nevertheless to increase our EBITDA also in Q4 2015. The average revenue per contract user is 52 zloty more or less, which is give and take 11-12 euro. So you can see it's a very competitive price compared to many other European countries, even if you look to Eastern Europe, etc. So the fact I mentioned earlier that we have moved a lot of prepaid customers to postpaid, which is due to our strong family offer. And for sure, these customers do not have the same contract ARPU as the older, more traditional contract customers, but yet they generate more revenues when they move into contract. They get a handset, they get a data connectivity. So we see a positive trend for the coming period. So if we summarize 2015 and the financial numbers, it's the number of customers. We passed the 14 million. Martin and I have been having 5 million Barcelona t-shirts. We have had 10 million Barcelona t-shirts, but we don't like the guy who carries number 14, so we are waiting until we hit a better number with a Barcelona t-shirt. But today Martin is wearing our very, with pride, our 14 million sweatshirt. And our revenues, 5.4 billion zloty, usage revenues 4.1, adjusted EBITDA 1544 million, or 1.5 billion zloty, which gives us an EBITDA margin which is quite remarkable for a late entrant, still growing, by the way, significantly growing, but 28.8%. We also have announced the mobile number portability numbers for quite a while. For many years we were above the 50% mark, and we always said next quarter we expect to be below. But it was actually many quarters later that we finally got below 50%, but still, for the full year 2015, 45% of all customers moving their number in Poland chose Play as the destination. So we are still very pleased, very proud of this achievement, which we believe is a result of good offers, good service, very good retail strength, and that's why the customers are coming to Play. A few highlights outside of the more numerical presentations. We have built a very strong LTE network. Actually, quite honestly, we are surprised about how much data is running through our LTE network. At the current stage, end of 15, we covered 78% of the population. We use 1800 frequencies primarily for our LTE network, and hence our CTO is one of the first in the world also to deploy LTE on 2100. So we have a lot of capacity and we need a lot of capacity. Therefore, we have just recently acquired more frequencies from the regulator. We have acquired one block of 800 frequencies and 4 blocks of 2600. The 800 clearly for the deep indoor and for the rural coverage, and the 2600 for the capacity. And Hans was just mentioning this morning that sort of on the more technical news at Mobile World Congress 16, there's a lot of initiatives which is directed towards increasing capacity on existing frequency resources. So you call it master MIMO and whatsoever. So we expect that with the frequency resources we have now available, we will be able to provide sufficient virtual reality for the users also in some years to come. One interesting statistics is that we have seen when a 3G user is migrating to 4G LTE, that quite rapidly the usage increases 5 times. So a typical 3G smartphone user is using about 1 gigabyte a month. And the average consumption for an LTE smartphone user is 5 gigabyte a month. And the difference is called YouTube, or Facebook video, or see where I am, I have a selfie, and it's not a selfie picture anymore, it's a selfie video, uploaded, shared with friends, whatsoever. So there's a 5-time increase of data. The other interesting bit is once you have quickly increased by 5 times, you stay on that relatively flat 5G or 5 gigabyte per month. So we can calculate how many customers we haven't migrated yet, and hence we can quite precisely calculate how much data capacity we will actually need in the future until everybody gets their goggles and will be looking at virtual reality instead of looking at the beautiful pictures and sort of streets or whatsoever. By the way, I didn't mention in the beginning, but the beautiful pictures here, they are of course all from Barcelona, and is one of our employees partners who have taken a few days off to walk around the streets of Barcelona and make these beautiful pictures. So 5 times increase the moment you get an LTE device in your hand. That's an interesting development. That means in numbers that last year our network produced 221 petabytes. I don't know how many records, books, magazines, whatever that is, but it's a lot. And it means that in our customer base across the board, prepaid, postpaid, having data, having no data, whatsoever, the average consumption is 1.5 gigabyte per month. And it's only a year ago that we announced it was 1 gigabyte a month. So there's quite significant increase, which is the second number here, that totally we have increased the data capacity, the data usage by 150%. And just on smartphones alone, last year, the total data consumption increased by 300%. So it's all about data. Voices are free, cost nothing to produce, except if you're roaming. I'm still personally sort of getting a little bit upset when we go to the Mobile World Congress, and all we see is here you have free Wi-Fi, you know. So it's like, why do we need all this free Wi-Fi? We have perfect LTE coverage here. So there's still some work to be done on sort of roaming tariffs, etc. We have continued in 2015 the unique family offer, which has been a major driver of the success of 1.2 million new contract customers last year. And also we can see the movement in the family that the youngsters typically, who formerly had a prepaid card, are moving in, getting a postpaid, getting a smartphone, starting using data, and everybody's happy. So the formula Rotina has been a great success for Play, both in the Rotina offer and in the Comfort, which is the B2B offer. We always say one of the differences between Play and other players in the market is that we have a retail DNA in our block. And we decided last year it was time, even if our shops were looking great, to make them look even greater. And Mikau and his team managed to remodel 850 shops in 6 months. And now we have 850, actually today 860, beautiful shops where customers can feel comfortable, nice and easy view on the office, on the handsets, and where the employees are happy to spend many hours every day servicing our customers. When everything is unlimited, maybe except data, then what can you add to sort of differentiate yourself? And I'm proud to say that we managed to get a deal with Tidal, the music service. So in November, we could finally launch unlimited music for everybody at Play. So the offer is very simple. If you are a contract customer, you have unlimited music from Tidal, and you can listen to whatever you like. Chinese music, classical music, modern music, rock, pop, you name it, Tidal has it, and therefore Play has it. At the same time, we also agreed that we could be using some of the stars on Tidal in our advertising campaign. And here in January, we refreshed our marketing platform using the likes of Rihanna and Madonna in our advertising, and we see a steep take-up of the music service from Tidal, which is another great development. On the handset side, of course, also very important, we see the usual suspects and one newcomer to the market. So the usual strong development, Samsung, of HTC, LG, Sony, partners we have had for many years. And we also see that Huawei, after some harder years, is getting things right and is producing handsets at prices that are affordable, and we can finally sell significant numbers also of Huawei handsets in our shops. It's always good to have a choice. All this and these achievements are not done entirely by Play and the Play team. We have many partners, we have many friends, as Martin said. We are very happy to work with all of you, and it is our ambition that we will also next year be standing here and announcing that the company, together with our partners, have had a good year behind us, and we have continued to grow. So with these few words, I will conclude the presentation. They say thank you all for showing up, and I think, Martin, time for questions.
Yes, maybe you have a question. First question, maybe if somebody wants to get such a fantastic sweatshirt, just text me or email me. So this is a question and answer. So do you have any question?